So, Kingdom Hearts 3 on PC. I have been warned multiple times of the Devil's Storefront, and while I have some disagreements with the Epic Store in its current state, I think I actually have reason to give more fucks about them than I currently do since I only made one purchase prior. Anyways, main reason I'm doing this, it's no secret that the PC gaming scene in Japan has been a major source of annoyance for me. Hell, I'm annoyed enough with how Japanese game developers treat the PC platform that I've been driven to purchase the game shown in the background video. For the past 8 years of consuming Japanese video games on possibly the worst platform to play them on, it's apparent to me that Japanese game developers seem to always operate on the mindset of testing the waters, and it's at a point where they can release multiple AAA games on Steam and still act like they've never sold a game on Steam before. I think part of it has to do with Nippon Ichi Software releasing Clad X2 in 2012, and the failure of that game set the benchmark for most Japanese developers to follow, since NIS is still a fairly popular name in their home country. Other factors that I think contribute to a Japanese developer's wishy-washy PC support include but are not limited to regional bias towards consoles, anti-PC elitists outright demanding to see the failures of Japanese PC ports so that the developers won't ever make PC games ever again, and PC gamers themselves refusing to buy games that they might not necessarily enjoy just because they're from the same developers that have worked on games they would rather have instead. I won't lie that we're getting more Japanese games on the PC platform now, more than before, but it's also apparent to me that we've done a pretty good job at lying to ourselves that they no longer hate PC gaming, that we start believing that they don't. Spoiler alert, they still do. And the factors I've mentioned earlier in this video kinda give the impression that Epic's bribery of Square Enix should bring up a topic I think is worth asking about. Is it better for Epic Games to pay Japanese game developers to port their games to a platform that they've had a long time history of treating like absolute fucking dog shit, or for us to slowly lose Japanese game developers one by one in such a pace that we likely won't notice it until it's far too late to salvage the Japanese PC scene? I know the question I ask seems way too much because the assumption that Epic will take interest in Japanese game developers is an extremely bold one. At the same time, it seems even less likely for those same developers to actually take the PC platform seriously without a multi-million-dollar corporation from North Carolina using their disposable income to influence their decisions. I'd like to hear what people think is the lesser evil when it comes to Japanese PC ports between Epic's bribery and Japan's bias towards consoles, and before I cut the video feed off, I'd like to say this. Fuck Nippon Ichi Software for releasing what looks like a random pixel art dungeon crawler when the market was oversaturated with it, and expecting the Sky fans to like it at the time because now we have Japanese developers with similar expectations for their products. I genuinely wonder if Kingdom Hearts 3 when released on Steam had a different Japanese PC game been the benchmark for others to follow.